Hello everyone, this is Sean with Charm City Serpents and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going over my first clutch for 2023. This is my baby girl Ember, who has 8 healthy eggs underneath of her. So this is us. I believe this was before work one day. I just came down and she laid. So we're gently taking her off of her eggs. They are 8 good eggs. We check her, make sure she's clean. Make sure she doesn't have any eggs stuck in there. Put her in a nice little separate container so I can clean her off. All the good stuff. Today's video, we're going to be going over everything that pertains to this clutch, from pulling from the egg, through the process of cutting, and then what they look like outside of the egg as well. So you'll get a one-stop shop. You don't have to come back for another video in 8 months when they're out of the egg and when they're, well, it doesn't take 8 months, but you know what I mean. So this is just me marking the top, so when I pull them apart, they don't roll. And if they do roll, I know what the top is. This is me candling an egg, just making sure there are veins in there, making sure the embryo was relatively close to the top. Naturally, they should be, but if they aren't, I can always make that adjustment. Next up, we have our egg box. I want to make sure that I don't have the eggs touching the sides. That's why I have those straws there. The sides to get some condensation on them, and the last thing I want is the eggs to get wet, because then they'll get moldy and we'll have trouble. So I cut some straws down, stick it through those little light diffusers, and that makes that a lot easier. I do have to separate them, because if you don't separate them, they won't fit properly in my particular egg box. Now time for some egg cutting. What an exciting time. We only started because one of the eggs pipped on its own, which is what I'm cutting right here. Now, if we had the original sound on of these, you would hear us make tons of speculation. That's half the fun, but we did have baby Ray Ray with us, so she was doing a lot of screaming in the background, so I'm doing an entire voiceover today. I'm going to give you what I believe we guessed, because I think I remember. And then at the end, when we get to those parts, I'll show you what we actually got and, oh, how wrong we were. The pairing was a highway to a Firefly Yb. And that just looks like a pastel Yb / gravel. Now, I'm going to say just Yb, but it is Yb / gravel. We don't actually know. There's no way to tell until you breed it out. And instead of saying Yb / gravel every single time and twisting up my words while I'm trying to do one take on this voiceover, I'm just going to say Yb. You'll just have to understand. Rachel and I take turns. I did the first one because it pipped, and then she's doing this one. We don't like making huge cuts because, we don't want to just, the idea is to allow the steak to come out, not necessarily get in their shit and, see what we get. Again, that looks like another pastel Yb. Hard to tell, but I believe that's what we thought it was. Next up, I like this technique of cutting. You pinch it, roll it, and cut. I don't have to make a bunch of extra cuts. And we get our first cool thing. I, based on those little patterns right there, believe that it is some form of a highway. That makes sense to me. We have pastel, we have fire, so we could do Firefly highways, and that's what I'm kind of freaking out, hoping that what it is. I think Ray Ray agrees. She said, "Look, Uncle Sean, look at the raceways. That's a highway." Don't believe it is, but that's what we thought. Next up is Rachel. Again, she has a nice little clean, precise, small cuts. Just enough to see what's inside. And let's see. I don't believe we could tell. I don't believe we could tell at all. Because I can't tell from rewatching it. And she gave it a little poke to make sure it was alive and okay. But with all that stuff there, it's really hard to tell. Got a lot of white on the side. Could be something nice. Next up, again, with my superior cutting skills here. Let's see what we got. Hopefully she doesn't watch this video. Another pastel, maybe a little brighter. Don't know. Guess we're going to have to wait and see. All right. What's up next? Oh, that looks light. That's looking light. I don't know. Don't know what it is, but it looks awful light. Out of this clutch, we can actually not get any normals. Any normal looking snake is actually a yellow belly or a gravel. It's why I like supers when I do my breeding. For me, it just takes all the guesswork out of it. Although I am guessing because technically it's either or. But it can't be a normal, and that's important. We got burned before where we were doing het-to-hets, and all we got were normals, and it was very, very unfortunate. That looks to be like a yellow belly / gravel. Actually looks normal to me, but again, that's why I went through that whole spiel. Can't be a normal, so. Come to find out, that snake, when we get to it later, meanest snake I've ever seen. Not mean, most aggressive snake. Ball python, let me rephrase that. Nice little clean, looks like some pastel in there. Very cool. All right, this is our TikTok that Rachel made. That's coming out of the egg. Exciting time when you open up an egg box and you got a bunch of snakes coming out, slithering around. I don't remember seeing that bad boy in the egg when we were cutting. The flat spot on the back of his head from the dark right to the white is very, very cool. Sneak peek, obviously, you can see some of them. But now you're going to get to see individuals. All right. This is our yellow belly / gravel. Complete jerk. Don't know what sex because he'll bite me every time I try. And I'm not trying to stress him out. Or her. I believe this is the Firefly yellow belly. Very pretty. That is a pastel yellow belly. Very nice. Lots of janked up patterns. It's very cool. Next up, another pastel yellow belly. A little bit more normal pattern, but still some jankiness to it. Very odd patterns on these guys. They're ever hard to tell. Next up, we have, this is the Firefly yellow belly. I was mistaken. The first one, the first three were all pastel yellow bellies. This is a Firefly yellow belly. The lighter head is easier to tell, and that is exactly what Mama is. This, I believe to be a pastel ivory. She's definitely an ivory. Whether she's got fire or pastel, a little hard to tell. They all have that line down the back, but it's definitely an ivory. Next up, I believe this to be a Firefly ivory. It looks like it has some highway, but I've seen pastel highways and fire highways and Firefly highways, and I don't believe it to be any of those. So I believe it's a Firefly ivory. And that is the Firefly highway. Very, very pretty boy. I wish it was a girl. We'd have kept him if it was a girl. But this is what we were looking for out of the clutch. We made one last year. We made one this year. Thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for our next video.